Hello my friends and welcome, I hope you're doing great. Recently we heard more and more of the threats towards Greenland from the White House administration and personally from Donald Trump. At the very beginning of his presidency it looked like some sort of the bad joke, but now he insists for Greenland to be the part of the United States of America. He tells about inability of Denmark to protect Greenland, which is actually hoax because Denmark is the NATO member country as well as the United States of America, and if everything is fine, if the Article 5 is in action, there is no problem for Greenland to be defended by all of the states of NATO in case of the possible escalation between NATO and China, NATO and Russia, because that is exactly what Donald Trump says about. He says that Chinese and Russian ships are encircling the Greenland and they create the national security issues for the United States of America. So as for me, this security concern is kind of the poor justification for annexation of Greenland. I think that after all, it's all about rare earth minerals which are presented in Greenland, and also the potential open of the new trade routes through North Ocean. Well, I also have doubts about the profit of those routes in the coming years or even decades, because they work just partially for the summer season. Plus the supply logistics in the northern area of Canada, Alaska, Russia, Greenland is not that developed compared to usual regions where most of the people live. There are no big ports, basically there is no anything, no infrastructure. Occasionally, yes, but not as massively as in normal waters, warm waters. So as with Venezuelan oil, I think in Greenland it's all about resources, most of all, but also, this PR of Donald Trump personally, similar to the Russian world or the Russian peace, of how Donald Trump expands his American empire. But the thing is that American empire is not about expansion in territorial way. It's about influence, democracy, yes, spreading this culture we all or most of the world lives in, plus economy. Why should you annex country to rule it? It's stupid in 21st century. It's only Russia's thing, or maybe Chinese, but Taiwan is officially a part of China. So if United States, they want to annex the other country, it justifies China's action against pretty much own territory, Taiwan, because legally, officially, according to United Nations and international regulations, and even according to United States officials, now and before Donald Trump, it's the common China policy. They just support the current status quo that Taiwan is more or less independent. And actually, it's the interest of the United States of America to be like that, for Taiwan not to join the mainland China, simply because of the high-tech production on that island, mostly chips, which are being used also by the United States military and those corporations all around the world. That's why the potential military action of the United States against Greenland is not good. And also it will bring the final end to NATO itself as the transatlantic organization. Yesterday, the Prime Minister of Denmark already mentioned that. She also said that we should take the threats from Donald Trump seriously, but at the same time her rhetoric was not that strong as I expected. She didn't say we're gonna use military forces to defend Greenland. She just mentioned the common unity or some stuff as usual. And here I want to read out the joint statement of leaders of the France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, also United Kingdom, and of course Denmark. Well, if they go with the statement, it means that definitely something serious is happening. Arctic security remains a key priority for Europe, and it's critical for international and transatlantic security. NATO has made clear that the Arctic region is a priority and European alliances are stepping up. It basically means that if Greenland is the part of NATO, it is under protection already, so justification that China or Russia may deploy their forces and only United States of America may protect Greenland is just a pure hoax and just an excuse for annexation, because Greenland is already under protection. We and many other allies have increased our presence, activities and investments to keep the Arctic safe and to deter adversaries. The Kingdom of Denmark, including Greenland, is part of NATO. Security in Arctic must therefore be achieved collectively in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, by upholding the principles of the United Nations, including sovereignty, territorial integrity, and inviolability of the borders. Inviolability, okay, so no one may annex anyone, yeah? But we understand that those rules are not for Donald Trump, as well as for Putin, by the way. These are universal principles, and we will not stop defending them. How? Can you defend really Greenland against the United States' possible intervention? Will there be a possible war between the United States and NATO allies? This is unprecedented, guys. It has never been like that. I mean, this potential escalation within the NATO bloc, and I'm sure that some of the countries of NATO may even support Donald Trump. Hungarian Prime Minister Orban may support that move, but many will be against, so it creates the internal crack in NATO itself. I understand that the United States doesn't want to protect Europe any longer, at least with the current White House administration, but it may also create instability within NATO part of Europe. Now, I was saying for a very, very long time that Europe should have its own army. That is how it should be. They have their own currency, common economy, almost no customs. They have even a European Union parliament, but they do not have a European Union army. It is kind of bad and may lower the capabilities of every individual country to protect itself, because no one had expected the threats coming from the United States towards their own allies. Also, in the joint statement, European leaders say that the United States is the essential partner of NATO. Yes, of course. And there is the special defense agreement even between Kingdom of Denmark and the United States, dated from 1951. But Donald Trump doesn't care. He only respects rule of force. Russia also signed multiple of the agreements with Ukraine, recognizing even Crimea as the Ukrainian territory, respecting all of the Ukrainian sovereign integrity. Russia even signed the security agreement with Ukraine. It's the Budapest Memorandum. United States, by the way, also signed that piece of paper that means absolutely nothing nowadays. Only force matters. Sadly, my friends, but we live in this new reality. Where it could lead us, no one knows for now. Greenland belongs to its people. It is for Denmark and Greenland and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. And again, I do not see a strong rhetorics from the European officials. They could have said something like, we're going to use all of the methods and even military, if possible, to protect sovereignty of Denmark. In that case, it could have been something, really a message towards Trump, do not do it. But no, instead they referred to some of the strange agreements. United Nations, come on, United Nations, it's a useless organization, as we know from the experience of the Ukrainian war. So this escalation around Greenland is kind of profitable for Russia and China. It's their dream to crack NATO from within. And it seems like with Donald Trump, they're succeeding. They don't even need to do something. Donald Trump does it for them. America is ruining NATO. Unfortunately, it's like that. Also yesterday, there was the interview of the National Security Advisor, Stephen Miller. He stated that Greenland should be the part of the United States. By what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? That was his question. The United States is the power of NATO. The interviewer later asked, so you can't take military force off the table? Miller answered, nobody is gonna fight the United States military over the future of Greenland. So they are so focused to annex that island, that they might even use military force. And you know, guys, I would say that even with Venezuela, it was kind of the poor justification for United States to definitely kidnap Maduro. It's not about Venezuelans, human rights or whatsoever. It's about oil, and Donald Trump said it himself openly, that it's about oil. And before even Maduro was kidnapped, Donald Trump tried to make a deal with Maduro. So they wanted the current regime to continue to rule the country. They just wanted the access to the natural resources, to oil basically. In Greenland, justification is basically the same, but United States, they understand that Denmark has way smaller army, that allies probably will not unite against the United States because they are very dependent on the United States. That's why America may do whatever it wants in Western Hemisphere, as they say. And to protect 50 with something thousand people of Greenland, well, I do not honestly believe that definitely there will be a military response from Denmark and European countries. Is it possible? Tell me, guys, are people in Denmark motivated to fight for their land of Greenland, which is quite far away from them? It's kind of the interesting question, because for Ukraine, Russian aggression was the existential one. It definitely was the attack on the country itself, including the capital city of Kiev. So basically, Ukraine didn't have another option than to defend itself. But Greenland is far away, again, from Denmark. And whether it's going to be morale from people of Denmark to go and defend their kingdom. And what about other European countries in this case? I have the opinion that they will not defend Greenland. And judging on the absence of the strong rhetorics from the European leaders and from Denmark itself, I see no political will in really defending Greenland. And potentially the defense could be successful because yes, the United States army is strong, but Russian army was also strong. It is still stronger than Ukraine, but there is no success for them in conquering Ukraine. A special military operation goes already for 4 years almost, and there is no visible end for it. So Denmark potentially could cause some of the losses in case of the annexation attempt, and those losses of the United States Army could trigger outrage of people in the United States. Remember how people rioted during the Vietnam War, and it's not Russia. People may protest in the United States. Especially then there is absolutely a useless war against the own ally. So my opinion that with the proper political will and will of people to defend their country, I think that the United States will not be successful in Greenland, even in case of the military attack. Well, the only positivity I see from everything of that is that American administration is not capable. It's not competent at all. Everything what they do, including this Maduro case, Venezuela, they cannot end. They kidnapped Maduro, yes, but it doesn't mean that they conquered the country. Maduro's regime is out there, and we just heard the new threats for every sort of the leader of Venezuela that might potentially come and replace the kidnapped leader. And the United States cannot do it. Again and again, sending helicopters. It worked once, but it will not work for the second time. It's useless. So the only robust variant for Donald Trump to finally change the regime in Venezuela is to send army, huge number of the forces. But the United States, I think they will not do it because Donnie, he is stupid, idiot, but still he understands that this move is very unpopular, even among Republicans. And maybe that's why they're telling about Greenland, to succeed at least somewhere with weak allies. For Donald Trump, it doesn't matter whether it's dictator or allies. If he sees some of the possible income, resources, oil, minerals, he might annex, attack, blackmail. It's his policy. It's very, very bad that there is the possible confrontation between allies, United States, Europe. They should have been united to withstand the possible escalation against Russia, against China, but it seems like it's not about Donny. For him, everything is different. But Donald Trump, of course, is not forever. His approval rating goes down, disapproval skyrockets. Every time he checks the analytics, it's close to 30%, I think, the approval rating right now. So for sure, Republicans will lose the midterm elections, plus the next presidential elections, and everything will be changed. But the trust is already lost. The trust to the United States of America that was gained for decades and decades of cooperation with allies. Now, Europeans understand that Americans may elect someone really stupid, and he or she might ruin the stability and everything. The rule of force, guys, the rule of force. Miller himself yesterday said that only rule of force matters. And of course, it is not what we want. I just hope that Europe will react more strongly to show that definitely they're determined to defend sovereignty, to unite. But I have just a tiny little hope for it. We'll see how it goes. I think there could be some of the annexation attempt from America to conquer Greenland. Well, guys, still keep up positive, yeah? Because Donny is getting older. Day by day, he's getting not stronger, but weaker, and everything will be all right, okay? After him, everything should be settled down. Well, guys, also support me on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description below, or on membership if you watch me on YouTube. Thank you so much for it, my friends, because you make this content possible. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.